Ready? Maya. Nice job. So with Miss M, I wanted to work a little bit with going to a target mat and working the beginning stages of potentially working that stay. So right there, yes, I'm just going to feed over targeting. So in the beginning, again, to build up value and going to this placemat, I want to feed several reps of snacks while she's on there. I might just go and wiggle and again, maybe go bed and then see if she can go right onto her little mat. Yeah, nice job, into her mat. And then again, we're going to feed several goodies for being on the target mat. So the benefit of doing this, and she just hears her sister wandering in her little spot behind her, is that we're at times trying to replace behavior we don't really love with things we'd prefer. So if at times like the girls can get a little rowdy or they're getting a little wild or maybe they're a little bit jumpy, remember movement behaviors tend to be easiest in the beginning. So find it or redirect to a toy or redirect to another puzzle item or chew, or ask for other behaviors they can't do two things at once. So you might ask for a sit if it's possible, and then sitting would be replacing the jumping. So, but if you're getting a lot of jumping, I always try to evaluate, like, has my dog's needs been met? Am I misinterpreting something? Could my dog be stressed out or overwhelmed or too excited? And in those situations, if your babe really doesn't know what to do, think instead of them being wrong for jumping, think what would I prefer that beauty to do? So again, right now Miss Emma's killing it. So again, we'll sort of wiggle and leave the spot. So if let's say we're working a bit with place and maybe you try to train one girl independently from another, or you could do this again with your partner. So let's say you were working one girl in her stay, maybe Miss G is working a little bit with loose leash walking, maybe she's working on a chew item in the opposite room with the baby gate. Then you could start to work each girl individually and maybe start to build up that for Miss Lovely, Miss M, who maybe has a little bit more comfort. Maybe she works a little bit with the stay on the mat. So again, with stay, you want to think about feeding for the duration of holding the position. So you'll see right now my time frame between each snack is really short and sweet. I know we've touched base on this in class when they both at one point came to a beginner program. So this right here is beautiful. And I'm going to feed her again one last little snack. And I'd say all done. And then we can get up and wiggle our lady off the mat. So I like to typically, for the mat and working stays in general, stays are being fed for being stationary, not for ending the game. So I would again go bed, see if I can get her to target. Right there, I'm going to go yes and feed for even just setting up on the mat. Now I might say stay. And let's say she's doing pretty well. I might even add a little bit of movement or a little bit of distance. But if that was too hard for her, I'm going to again lower that criteria and set her up for success. So again, she's still rocking that little stay there. If she did completely break, like get up and wiggle, I would reset her up and start from square one. So again, I'm not going to say the stay word over and over. She's already in it. But if, let's say, she did wiggle, then you could reset up that exercise. So right now, if she wiggled, that's where, oh, backward sneezing. You all right? So we might get a little sit again. Beautiful. Then I would reset it up. So stay, and then see if we can work that for a few seconds, and then back to feeding. So again, very nice. And you'll see I'm not doing too hard of a setup. If I was losing her every single time I wiggled, I wouldn't add that as a step. So again, yes, and you'd be sometimes saying yes and marking. If she wiggles, no big deal. She is towards the end of her day, so the girls are getting really pooped out. Ready? So we go right back to our little mat. I would tell her once more to stay. And this time I'm not going to add distance. I'm just going to make it a little easier for her. So she's like, oh, thank goodness. So I do not mind if my dog would rather do a down versus a sit, especially if you're working on trying to capture relaxation. So I like to also feed for behavior, not necessarily always a skill set. So because if we don't feel comfortable, it's very hard to attain those other behaviors in the sense of recall, loose leash walking, all those different lovely skill sets. So right now for Miss M, I'm just feeding her for being relaxed and vegging and deciding that settling on a mat maybe does have some nice value for her. She's doing a really nice job. And the building does have a funny little, because it's metal roof, it does make some weird noises as it heats and cools. So a lot of times the babes their little ears are wiggling and twitching because they're picking up on the different oddities for sound in this building at times. Nice. But Miss M definitely got much more comfortable this round. For her first day, still did really nice, but a little bit more unsure. Miss G again is much more comfortable too. She's in her little bubble right here behind her sister, and she's probably laying down and relaxing with one of her lick items. You brought those lovely Kongs as items for the girls to have as decompression, which is splendid. This is beautiful. So I'm again gonna maybe give her one more little tidbit for this awesome settle on her mat and capturing these lovely stay moments, and then tell her she can be all done again. So again, I would go all done. And if my puppy has a hard time getting up, sometimes she's like, lady, I am so comfortable and tired. I typically, as I mentioned before, I don't normally feed for the getting off, but I would go all done. And let's say she's really having a hard time, I might go into a little find it, get her up, but then make sure that most of the time for the mat work, she's being fed for being on the thing. So, but for all of the beauties, they're really doing a gorgeous job. I know the girls only did 2 sessions. Our handsome guy, he signed up for all 3 that we had this time around. So I'll be seeing Mr. K then on Tuesday too. But our lovely ladies really did a really great job for within their comfort range, their understanding, and the difficulty that is sometimes going to a new facility or a new environment. But keep rocking and rolling it with both the girls and our lovely Mr. K. And then do reach out if you've got questions, concerns. If you're looking over some of the material and you're unsure of what it means or how to work it, don't feel that, again, you can't reach out. So, but we'll give our babes a little break because they're all pooped out, and then we'll see each other again, hopefully later in the future. And I know I'll see Mr. K on Tuesday. So, good job, Miss M.